Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asrofil anbiya'i wal mursalin sayyidina wa maulana Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajmain amma ba'du. The Honorable, the Community Literacy Coach Mrs. Ratna Endang Sayuti, the Honorable, the Head of Reading Interest Socialization Movement, Mrs. Ervi Pamudi, the Honorable, the event organizer, and also all of the audience and the participants of these seminars. First of all, let me say thank you to our God, Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, the Lord of the world, who has given us His blessing, so that we can gather in this place, in this special moment, without something wrong happen. Secondly, may peace be upon our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, who has guided us into the right ways of life. Ladies and gentlemen, here I am Leni Nursinta, as Master of Ceremony, will guide these seminars. But before we get into the core event, let me explain to you about the agenda of the seminar this morning. The first agenda is opening. The second agenda is singing our national anthem Indonesia Raya. The third agenda is a speech from a community literacy coach. The fourth agenda is a speech from the head of reading interest socialization movement. And the last agenda is closing. All blessed audience, now we are on the first agenda, that is opening. Let's start this event by reading Basmalah together, shall we? Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you. The second agenda is singing our national anthem, Indonesia Raya. To all of the audience, please stand up.
Indonesia airku, tanah tumpah darahku. Di sanalah aku berdiri, jadi pandu hidupku. Indonesia kebangsaanku, bangsa dan tanah airku. Marilah kita berseru, Indonesia bersatu. Hiduplah tanahku, hiduplah negeriku, bangsaku, rakyatku semuanya. Bangunlah jiwanya, bangunlah badannya untuk Indonesia Raya. Indonesia Raya, merdeka, merdeka, tanahku, negeriku yang ku cinta. Indonesia Raya, merdeka, merdeka, hiduplah Indonesia Raya. Indonesia Raya, merdeka, merdeka, tanahku, negeriku yang ku cinta. Indonesia Raya, merdeka, merdeka, hiduplah Indonesia Raya.
To all of the audience, please sit down. The third agenda is a speech from the community literacy coach, Mrs. Ratna Endang Sayuti. But before we get into the speech, let me read her CV first. Mrs. Ratna Endang Sayuti was the best graduate from State University of Yogyakarta in 1997. She started her career when she was young, and her goal is to devote her life to the benefit of society in the field of literacy. Mrs. Ratna Endang Sayuti, the time is yours. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. The Honorable, the head of Reading Interest Socialization Movement, the Honorable, the event organizer, and also all of the audience here. Thank you in advance. I have been given the opportunity to give a speech in this special event, Literacy Seminars. First of all, my name is Irma Ananta, representing Mrs. Ratna Endang Sayuti, who today cannot attend this special event because she is on duty out of town. Well, according to the topic we are going to discuss this morning, that is about literacy. So what is literacy actually? Yes, literacy is the ability of all the individuals in the world, including everyone here. This ability is to read, write, speak, and solve problems. Well, of course, everyone here is well-educated people, well-educated person. So I think we all have mastered all of this ability, right? Thank you for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much for Mrs. Irma Ananta for the speech. Please give her applause. So according to Mrs. Irma's speech, the literacy is the ability that everyone must have in their daily life to survive in the real world. Thank you, Mrs. Irma. The next agenda is a speech from the head of Reading Interest Socialization Movement, Mrs. Ervi Pambudi. But before we start, I want to read her CV first. Mrs. Ervi Pambudi was graduated from State University of Yogyakarta in 2001. She is also a young motivator, and her goal is to help underprivileged people master literacy. She is currently assigned at some institution as literacy consultant and motivation and head of Reading Interest Socialization Movement. Well, Mrs. Ervi Pambudi, the time is yours.
Well, I did have a chance to talk to Warren Buffett, but I said I could talk to Warren Buffett another time, and I'd rather come and talk to you. And what I'd like to do is tell you a little bit about myself and frame one of the issues that I think is so important for you, for us, for America, for the world. And as was mentioned, I run an investment firm. It's literally right across the street in the Aon Center. We're on the 29th floor, called Ariel Investments, and we invest $6 billion for a lot of people and organizations. I also work on television talking about money. You could say money is my specialty. I'm on a bunch of boards, including DreamWorks Animation, which is kind of cool because we go to board meetings and watch movies, which is fun. And this year, I'm actually getting married, too. So I've got a lot of stuff going on. I know, it's been a great time. And you might hear all that and think like, well, you know, I've always had it together and everything's perfect and this, that, and the other. And I have to tell you, I definitely didn't start off that way. And it's still not that way. When I was growing up, I am the youngest of 6 kids in my family. And in my family, I'm really young. So my oldest sister is 25 years older than me, and we have the same mother. So it's a big gap. 25 years older, so when I was growing up, my sisters made a point of making sure to tell me that I was not planned. They did it a lot. And when you're like 25 years old, your sibling, and you're 5, and your sibling says things to you like, you know, we found you by the doorstep, you actually believe them. So I had to work through that for a long time, thinking that I didn't belong. When I grew up, my mom was a single mom, and she struggled like a lot of single moms do, 6 kids. And we had like a really crazy life. And I say it wasn't boom or bust. It was kind of bust or normal. And so we'd either like have a place to live and things would be fine, or we'd be getting evicted, or our phone would get disconnected, or our lights would get cut off, or our car would get repossessed. Or my mother, I remember this, that in order to get me to school, she would go to the gas station and ask the gas attendant if we could borrow $5 worth of gas.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Ervi Pambudi, for this speech. Please give applause for her. So according to Mrs. Arafi's speech, we don't have to come from upper social class to be able to realize our dream. Because if there is a will, there is a way. Thank you, Mrs. Arafi, for the motivation of the day. Ladies and gentlemen, now we are on the last agenda, that is closing. Let we close this event by reading Hamdalah together, shall we? Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Thank you. A lot of knowledge we can get from the seminar in this morning. Start from the depth explanation about what is literacy to the experience that really inspired all of us. So of course, we are become motivated to explore more about literacy. Thank you to all of the audience and the great speaker for the time. I hope we can meet again in the other occasion. I hope all of us will be given health, and I hope the knowledge that we get in this seminar this morning will be applied and shared to the others. I apologize if there are still any mistakes that I made. I'm Leni Nursinta as Master of Ceremony of this seminar. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.